Hey, welcome to NOLA Outsiders YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you a little bit about what we did today, but at the same time I want to answer the question of what is Ingress. Oftentimes family members and friends will ask me, what the heck is that game you're playing, you keep posting about, blah blah blah. I sometimes show links to other Ingress videos where they attempt to show what Ingress is, but I don't think it really gets the whole idea of what's going on between the people and players, the cooperation, the teamwork, the strategy that's involved. So what you're looking at right now is a map of what it looked like this morning about 9:30. Now I'm running this at about a minute per second, and it shows the conditions of the New Orleans area, North and South Shore, at about 9:40 this morning before anything was really happening. Now notice there's like a green big triangle over Ponchatoula there. That's a field that me and Lynn put up. It actually had multiple layers, but in the meantime somebody took down some of it, but it was pretty strong. We put some special shields on it to make it hard to take down, so they weren't able to take the whole thing down. Now I'm going to stop for a minute and show you a little bit more about the game and the map before I continue telling you about what we actually did today. Alright, so now we're looking at the same map, but this is not a screen capture while we're running the op. This is how it looks right now. You can see the area, and a lot of the big green field I was talking about earlier is not there. There's a small one. We can see New Orleans at the bottom and a lot of blue links across the lake. That's an effort after we made our fields by the blue team to prevent us from rebuilding what they took down after we built it. So here you can see as we zoom out that this game is played widespread. There's almost no place that it's not being played. You can change the map and put in the satellite because it has that kind of black map background. It's a little bit weird, but you know they're trying to be sci-fi type stuff. But you can change it. You can put the terrain in, etc. And there's even some more advanced map features which technically aren't approved by the game makers, but it allows you to get a lot more information than what's on their standard thing. Here you can see most of the Gulf Coast. It's played everywhere. I'm not letting it load completely because as you scroll out, some of the stuff disappears, but it's still a massive amount of data. Here's some scoring. The areas basically of the planet are divided up and it gets some different scoring. You can see the score there jumped up from 290, 289 to over 2 million. That's a result of the activities that we did today, and I'm going to show you that in the later video. It'll show step by step how we did what we did. But right now, I just want people that don't understand English to get an idea of the scope of the game and gameplay. Here you see Lynn 7, that's my wife, in our area, and she's responsible for these jumps from 159 up to 380, 451, 271 points. Notice the blue team in our area, not very strong. But they still do a pretty good job keeping us down and taking down stuff relatively quick after we put it up. Alright, so now I'm going to give you a quick look at the Houston area, just to give you an idea of how other cities look. And as we scroll in, you'll see a lot of points that will slowly load in. Houston, of course, is a very big city, lots of points. Every one of these points is a fountain, a sign, a historical landmark, a sculpture, some point of interest. As I go out and show the entire United States, you can see that there really is no place that's not being played if it completely loads. You can even see some links down to the Caribbean, to Bermuda, and in a second you'll see links out to Hawaii. They're not forming right now, it's just that the data is taking a long time to load. I think they actually slow me down because I noticed the more I look at areas, the slower it gets. Probably they put some kind of limitations on how much data. I don't know. I'm just, that's off the top of my head, just what I noticed, that sometimes it loads fast, sometimes it doesn't. But it doesn't seem to have anything to do with how fast my internet connection is. Alright, so now I'm going to zoom out a little bit. You can see those links to Hawaii. Let's head on over to Europe. Now, most of Africa is a little bit empty because they don't have a whole lot of cell service, so it's not possible to play. But Europe looks empty right now, so I'm going to zoom in because there really is a lot going on there. It's just either not loading yet or, takes a while to show up. So let's go in a little closer. And I was thinking about maybe going to Paris and showing you that. And I want to go to Paris, but it looks like there might be a starburst here. Let's try to zoom in Bulgaria and see. Okay, not quite a starburst, but you can tell lots of links going on here, lots going on. This area is pretty dominated by the Enlightened, which is the green team. The blue team is the Resistance. I have my own opinions on the Resistance, and they probably have theirs on us. I feel that we are a little more laid back. We're the Enlightened, we just want to have a good time. And the Resistance, they saw, that they were going to be rebels, and they all think they're cowboys, and some of them are a little bit aggressive. But that being said, we got plenty of nut jobs on our team too, so it's kind of 50-50. Although green team's the way to go. And incidentally, if after you watch this video you're thinking about playing this game, shoot me an email to thesheerfamily@gmail.com. It's actually in the top corner of the screen because I have yet to earn a badge for recruiting anybody. I have nobody recruited even after like 4 years worth of play, so that'll help me. Let's take a look at Japan. I'd like to look at Tokyo simply because I know this will take an eternity to load in. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and cut the video right now and move to the loaded in feature because I'm not kidding. It takes about 20 minutes to load all these points in. It's crazy. All right, so here we are. It's actually not even finished loading in, but it gives you a good idea of the portal density. And each one of these points, as I said before, is an actual place, a fountain, a historical sign, a sculpture. Some of them are garbage because they were all user submitted, meaning that the players submitted them and took pictures and said, hey, this is a good portal, and they got approved. So there are some bogus ones. See, it's still slowly trying to load in more positions. This is around Tokyo. It's really big in Asia, and I kind of, I'm glad it's popular there, but I wish it was as popular here as it is there because they are absolutely crazy over it, and I feel like the company is focusing a lot of attention in that area. Obviously, they're a company, they're trying to make money, so they need to go where the money is, but hopefully they won't leave the rest of us behind. Okay, so now I'm going to leave Tokyo and kind of scroll out, and we'll see what else we see before we wrap this up and get to the exciting adventure we had today. Alright, so one more time, we're looking at kind of a global view. I'm going to scroll back down to our area. And we can see the north and south shore, not too much has changed. Looks like there might be a few more fields there, some closed-in connections from Acres or Manchac to the New Orleans area. Take a look down the French Quarter just so you see that there's a lot going on here too. Quite a few portals. Every one of the little white ones are portals that have not been claimed by either team at the moment. The blue ones are obviously for the blue team, green for the green. And then you see some arrows on those portals. Those portals with arrows actually indicate a mission starting point. And a mission is a whole other fun aspect of the game where you can play just by yourself and complete those missions. Alright, so now we're back to the actual op that we were doing today, and I want to draw your attention to the triangle around Ponchatoula. It's a little bit more green than the rest because it's multiple layers, but in just a second you're going to notice there was a link that just shot across the lake. There, you see it just got a little bit more dim, and then I think it's going to dim one more time. Alright, so that is them taking out that field, and at the time we were actually getting the boys' haircut, and I was like, oh wow, they're taking that out, but the baseline, the last link, is still up. So we're eating lunch at this point, getting well, not quite yet because they didn't open until 11, but so I mean we walked in the door right at 11. We got ourselves pizza in Madisonville. And you see there's a blue line across the lake. It's a blocker. Those are put there to prevent people from making massive fields. And today we had planned to have a massive field that was going to cover the entire New Orleans area. So the thought was we would draw the opposite team, the resistance, draw them off guard by having me field kind of a regular pattern of activity, so they wouldn't really, I mean, they probably could tell that something was up, but they wouldn't really be sure what was going on until it was too late. So after lunch was over, we're going to take out that blue link across the lake and reestablish our little triangle field. And this is done by having keys. We had keys to a portal in the Independence, Louisiana area and one down near Laplace. So hopefully it should be right about the time. I'm pretty sure around 12 o'clock we were starting. And there we go. I just saw some changes. See, some of the links are disappearing around Madisonville, and that blue link is about to pop. And now we have one, and there's the second leg, and the triangle's back. Then we moved ourselves across to Mandeville. You see the other green links, those are our blockers, but those also had to be removed in order for us to create this massive triangle across the entire New Orleans area. So I took out a couple other portals. My wife and I, and my son helped too. And then we put another layer over our triangle. We popped a couple of the green links. And now there's one more green link, and a couple of blue links are gone now too, opening the door for us to take the next green link. In the meantime, keep an eye out there. Some of the inner fields are disappearing because there's actually players coming behind us because they see what's going on and they want to prevent scoring to occur. And now we're in Lacombe, and we just made a final field, effectively blocking them from putting any kind of barriers in the way. Now we see a long link to Ship Island that just was shot from the Laplace area. At this point, even though they're taking down my field, which we don't care about the points because, well, we care about the points that my wife earned by making the fields, but not necessarily about any kind of scoring that would occur for meeting a checkpoint. But now, there, bam, New Orleans is fielded. That's the first layer, and I think the second layer, there's a second layer that just popped in. Much more valuable point-wise. The New Orleans area is somewhere between 500,000 and 700,000 points for each covering, whereas the layers that we were making were more around 50,000. It's based on the population or estimated population underneath the field is the point. So many more points for New Orleans. By the time it was all done, New Orleans was covered 4 times, and it was something like almost 2.5 million points of total coverage in the New Orleans area for our team. You see the green line was still there in Lacombe, and we were thinking, you know what? We see some of the guys that took down our field. I mean, I can tell what they did and where they did it. And we cleared some links, and we decided we're going to drive up north to Folsom. And normally I don't retaliate because, you know, I appreciate what other people do. But because that base link was still there from Laplace to Lacombe, we thought maybe we could squeeze in between those blue links and refield that. So we went up to Folsom. And I'm sure they'll be happy to hear this, that we weren't really successful. You see a blue link just disappeared. Now we have an opening that I could thread through and reestablish that field. But like I said, there's other players there, and you can even see that somebody to the north in Bogalusa is making a pretty incredible layered field as we were doing this. So we came up to Folsom. We took down the blue fields. A couple other portals there because I didn't want them to be able to throw any kind of links. But in the meantime, somebody's already down in Mandeville. They must have seen what we were up to, and they threw blockers. So that was the end of it for us. We decided to go home. We did manage to farm a level 8 portal in Folsom and frack it. So we got, you know, if you play the game, you know what that means. We got a bunch of stuff. Then we came back home and fielded a small field, but notice now they've managed to get to our points and take down the New Orleans field, but not before the points counted, so they got their points. And in the end, we're left with a little field that we made in the Ponchatoula to Mandeville area. and everybody had a great time. I notice now that it's after 5 o'clock, so this whole thing started in the morning. We took the boys to get haircuts. We got lunch at a nice pizza place. That may or may not have had daiquiris involved in that, but and then when we made it over to Lacombe and afterwards we hit Kmart for some shopping. Since the Kmart there, I got some nice Tom McCann shoes for like 20% off, and then made our way back home. So it was a really great family day. Everybody was together. We had a nice turnout. Since this video has already been too long, I'll leave you with some quick photos of me working on the tablet and some of our food at lunch in Madisonville before everything took place. And special thanks out to all the agents that made it happen again. And don't forget to email me at theshearfamily@gmail.com if you're interested in playing the game. See you next time.